So everywhere I went, whenever I purchased something, they, without asking, just gift wrapped it for me. So maybe you can try and guess what this item is. It is very popular for ASMR and is a major export of Portugal. Any guesses? Any guesses? Maybe you can guess this one. Let's open them up and find out. It is just a piece of cork. Portugal is I think, the largest grower of cork in the world. Most bottle stoppers for wine bottles in American English, we just call them cork. We call them corks, are from Portugal. We took a day trip to the kind of southern part of Portugal from where we were staying in Lisbon, and you can just see miles and miles of cork oak forests. So at every store you go to, you can find lots and lots of cork products. Cork bags, cork hats, cork shoes. I saw a really cool pair of cork shoes, but they were pretty expensive. Cork everything. So I got just this one round piece of cork, not because I need it, but because I wanted it for the sounds. So this is a trivet of ground cork, like you would find in a cork board. This is pretty common, but the other cool item I got specifically for the sounds is this much thicker piece of cork and cork oak bark. You can see it has some of the ground cork, but also the natural cork grain. And I thought this was just really pretty and cool, but also to compare the two different cork sounds. trivets and things. But you can find all sorts of cork gifts and things. You can actually make a kind of, it's like leather from cork and is super durable. And so you'll see like shoes and belts and wallets made out of cork leather, which is supposed to be very durable and comfortable. And it looks really cool. So which version do you prefer? These will definitely make appearances in future videos. The other cork product I got, I did not specifically get for this video or for ASMR purposes. It's actually a gift for a friend. But this is a cork covered shot glass. I have a friend who collects shot glasses, and so whenever I travel, I get him one. And that's another reason I wanted to film this video quickly, even with jet lag, is because I'm seeing him tomorrow and I'll give him this. But you can see it has the natural, kind of unprocessed cork oak bark on it. But you can go up to the cork trees in some places and see the trees that have recently been stripped. You can only harvest the bark from a cork tree every 9 years. So they label the trees so they know when it was last harvested. But on the trees that have recently been stripped, you can see where they harvested from and where they've left, and there are, 3 or 4 inches of that cork bark, and it's really cool to look at. And the cork oak forests are beautiful. So I got this as a little souvenir for my friend, and I hope he likes it. Here is another very well wrapped item. I'll give you a hint, it's not cork. It is not made of cork. azulejo. Azulejo, I think azul being blue because most of the tiles are blue and white, like this one. So this is an example of azulejo, in just the blue and white ceramic tiles. This one has a bird on it, but usually they're not a single picture. They're more just geometric, or they make a pattern like this one. But this one is unique, or maybe not unique because I bought it in a souvenir shop, but a little less traditional because it isn't just blue and white. But this one is this little kind of peacock-ish pheasant grouse type bird, and some kind of holly berry, maybe they're juniper berries, decorating the corners right here, and then some foliage. And so my husband picked this one out, and I picked this one out. I like the kind of just ornamental, less focused on a particular subject matter and more just decorative, with the kind of similar style of leaves, foliage, flora, however you will. And so I'm just going to, we have kind of a bookcase that has some plants and some books and some art on it, and it has some empty spots. So we're just going to put these on one of the shelves as just art decoration. And I think they are very lovely, and they are very Portuguese. But if you look up any kind of Portuguese houses, lots of them will have this beautiful tile work on them because it helps to insulate them, or it reflects light away from the homes in the warmer months, but also keeps them insulated in the cooler months. And they are apparently very easy to clean in a humid climate like Portugal. oil from the wood on them. So I don't know what they'll be like to eat with. I don't want to strip it of the oil and dry out the wood, but I don't think it would be very pleasant on ice cream. So I'm not quite sure what exactly I will use them for, but I thought that the marbled look of the olive wood was really lovely. And I have a penchant for little spoons in particular, because I just like them, I guess. I don't know. But we'll see what to do about the oil, and whether it will make them unpleasant to eat with. Cover your eye. Cover your other eye. Do an eye doctor. Okay, I just cut this out. I told you I was jet lagged. That's not bad. The next thing I have is not particularly Portuguese, but I did buy it in Portugal, and I just got it for myself because I really like it, and that's the entire story. So I will be very gentle with this, but this is in my opinion, exceedingly beautiful piece of embroidery that we found at a little art store in southern Portugal. I just love the taupe background as opposed to pure white. I love the variation of greens and the peachy pinks, the soft little buds, the symmetry and circular pattern. I just saw it and I fell in love with it. There were a couple other similar versions, and this one was my favorite. We got another smaller one as a Mother's Day gift that I'm going to send to my mom, but it's quite different. That one it has a white background and all of the flowers are clustered in the middle, and it's much brighter colors. This one is more muted and earth tones, which matches with my personal taste. And the other one is a little bit brighter. It's not neon by any stretch of the imagination, but a little bit brighter and vibrant, which I think she will really like. But I just saw this, and it's obviously, it was evidently one of a kind, made by a local artist. is on the back. Maybe you can find her on Etsy or something, I don't know. Looks like it says Agustina Santos. Agustina Santos. So shout out to Agustina. I love your embroidery. And hopefully my mom will love it too. I just really like it. If you see the NH in Portuguese, it's pronounced kind of like a tilde over the N in Spanish. So it should be Augustina, Augustina, not Augustina. It's my Portuguese tip of the day. Doesn't really make that many sounds, but just wanted to show it with you, and it actually matches my nails really well. Alright. And the last thing I have is probably what Portugal is the most famous for. I wonder if you can guess. Portugal. 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 Well, if you guessed port wine, you would be correct. This is actually not the only bottle of port that I bought to bring back home, but it is the only one that came in a fancy metal tin. So it is the one I will show you today. I've taken the bottle out so it won't rattle around while I show you the tin. BIN 2 7. So we stayed a couple of nights in Porto, which is more north in Portugal, and we took a day trip to the Douro Valley, which is where port wine comes from. In fact, if it is not grown in the Douro Valley, it cannot be called port. It's like champagne. If it's not grown in a specific region, it has to be called just fortified wine. It's this really unique microclimate that is perfect for port wine, or the grapes for port wine. So we also got a bottle of Tawny Port to bring home with us from a different vineyard. So we'll have a couple ports to continue to enjoy. But you can see here it says Instituto dos Vinhos do Douro e Porto. Instituto dos Vinhos do Douro e Porto. Saying that this has been certified as port by the Institute of Wines, the Porto and Douro Institute of Wines. So those are most of the souvenirs that I brought back from Portugal. There are a couple other gifts for people. There are a couple more bottles of wine, but I didn't really buy any clothing. I didn't really get up to that much shopping, I think. Just a lot of sightseeing and seeing all the different regions of Portugal, which are all just very unique and lovely in different ways. These two cork trivets will definitely be making appearances in future videos. If there is a sound